Hey guys, so this video lesson is going over adding and subtracting one-step equations with fractions. So please make sure you have these notes open along with this video so that you can be following along with me. So this lesson is actually a little bit different. On the left here we have a student who did their work and they did their work incorrectly. So there is a mistake in the problem that is completed on the left. Our job is to figure out what they did wrong and write an explanation and then show the correct way to do it. So let's get started. On the right hand side we have to show our own work. I like to show the work first that I would do and then compare what I get compared to what the student did. So first things first, remember yesterday we talked about solving, adding, and subtracting equations. Our goal is to isolate our variables, so we have to get that y all by itself. Very first thing I have to do is draw my line straight down the middle, right? We have two sides of an equal sign. Whatever I do on one side, I have to do on the other as well. Now, thinking about fractions makes it a little bit different. In order to add or subtract fractions, we have to have common denominators. Super important. Think back to our previous lessons this year. We need to get common denominators. So I have a 12 and a 3 here. Well, my common denominator between 12 and 3 would be the number 12. Now, don't forget, if you don't remember how to get common denominators, you can list out your multiples and see that my least common multiple between 12 and 3 is the number 12. So that means 2/3 needs to change into something over 12. Well, when I look at this, I can do 3 times 4 to get 12. Whatever I do on the bottom, I should do on the top as well. So 2 times 4 would give me 8. So I'm going to rewrite this whole problem with new common denominators. So I have 5/12 plus y equals 1 and 8/12. So now I have common denominators. Now I can start to solve this problem. Remember, whatever operation I see, I want to do my inverse operation. So right now I see addition, so I'm going to be doing subtraction. Well, in order to get y by itself, I need to get rid of that 5/12. So I'm going to subtract 5/12 on the left-hand side. So I'll cross those out and just be left with y. But on the right, I have to do the same exact thing. So I need to subtract 5/12 on the right-hand side as well. When I look at this, subtract my fractions first. So 8/12 minus 5/12, I'm left with 3/12. And then I have 1 whole minus 0 wholes. So 1 minus 0 is 1. So right now, y equals 1 and 3/12, but that would not be our final answer because that 3/12 can be simplified, and that can be simplified by 3 into 1/4. So 1 and 1/4 should be my complete final answer here. So now that we found our final answer, we can compare what we did to what the student did in their problem. So if I look, my first step, they drew their line, and then we subtracted 5/12 from both sides, and as you can see, this student added 5/12 to both sides. So when we write out our explanation, we can say the student did not use inverse operations. You can say this a bunch of different ways. You can say they should have subtracted 5/12 from both sides instead of adding. They should have subtracted on both sides, or there's a bunch of different ways you can say that. All right, next one, same idea. We have our student mistake on the left, our work is on the right. So first thing we want to look at is solving our own work. So I'm going to draw my line straight down the middle. Okay, so after we draw our line, we need to get common denominators. So remember, we're looking at the 8 and 16. If I were to list my multiples out, My common denominator, my least common multiple here, would be the number 16. So I need to change 5/8 into something over 16. When I look at that, I can see that from 8 to 16, I multiply by 2. Whenever I do on the bottom, I have to do on the top. So 5, that's a 2, wow. 5 times 2 is 10. And then I'm going to rewrite my problem with my common denominators. So j plus 10/16, bring down my equal sign, bring down my 1 and 11/16. Now you're going to do your inverse operation. So whatever I see, I do the opposite of. I see addition, so I'm going to do subtraction here. So I'm going to subtract 10/16 from both sides, because that'll give me j all by itself on the left. And then on the right, remember, subtract your fractions first. So 11/16 minus 10/16, I'm left with 1/16, and then subtract your whole numbers. So 1 minus 0 is just 1. So your final answer here would be j equals 1 and 1/16. So now that we did that, we need to go back and look at what the student did. And we can see they drew their line, they subtracted like they were supposed to, but what they subtracted was 5/8 from both sides. So in this problem, our student forgot to make common denominators before subtracting. So for the explanation of the error, put that in words in some way, shape, or form. So I'm going to say student forgot to make common denominators. Okay, so in some way, shape, or form, go ahead and say that. All right, number 3, same thing. Student made a mistake on the left. We have to show the correct work on the right. So I'm going to draw my line straight down. First things first, I have different denominators. I have a 3 and a 6, so I need to change them to get common denominators. Between 3 and 6, my common denominator is 6, so I need to change 2/3 into something over 6. If I multiply by 2, 2/3 becomes 4/6. So I'm going to rewrite my problem. P minus 4/6. Bring down my equal sign. Bring down my 5/6. From here, I'm going to do my inverse operation. So I see subtraction. I'm going to do addition. So add 4/6 to both sides. When I do this, I'm left with P on the left. And on the right, 5/6 plus 4/6 is 9/6. But please don't leave it as a improper fraction. We want to change that into a mixed number. So 6 goes into 9 one whole time with 3/6 left over. But again, that's still not in simplest form. 3/6 can be simplified to P equals 1 and 1/2, which would be our final answer. So now that we solved it correctly, we can go back and look at the students. And we see they did add on both sides, but the number they added was 5/6. And if you add 5/6 to both sides, that's not getting P by itself, right? They should have added 2/3 or 4/6 once they found common denominators to both sides. So student should have added 4/6 to both sides, not 5/6. So again, you can type it, you can write it, you can use your own words, but some way you should explain that. All right, for student mistakes numbers 4, 5, and 6, I'd like you to try them independently. See what you can get done. Check the key when you finish. If you make a mistake at any point, please make sure you are fixing it So you're going to show your work, compare it to the students, and then explain what the student did incorrectly for mistakes 4, 5, and 6. After you finish the mistake slides, make sure you check the key, and then there is this extra practice at the bottom. If you have time, check the key with what you finish. Good luck.